Oh boy, you guys, you better appreciate this. We just spent $750 at Walmart. Let's do the damn thing. So I heard through the grapevine that Walmart has been working on their knife selection at their stores, their physical brick and mortar stores. And what you could buy at Walmart before wasn't bad, so to speak, maybe just a little outdated. Buck 110, Kershaw League, CRKT, M16, things of that nature. And depending on where you were in the country, the knife selection at whatever store you happen upon might be completely decimated and abandoned. But we heard that they've been putting a little bit more effort into their knife selection, and it's actually pretty apparent. Like Ricky and I just got back from one Walmart. We left this office expecting to go to at least 2, maybe up to 5 different Walmarts, and we got everything we were looking for at the very first stop. So when we got there, we were like, oh, well, let's just get one of everything. And here we are, $750 later. We bought the best stuff that they had in the knife section at Walmart. So let's just dive into it. Let's start with Ozark Trail because this is their in-house brand and it's kind of a clear indicator of where they've gone as a company. Yeah, say what you will about it. They've definitely taken inspiration from some other knives and I don't really stand for that. We talked about this in the Harbor Freight video, but it does mean that they are helping the race to the bottom. They are making competing knives at cheaper prices and forcing other brands to continue to lower their prices and compete at a lower price point. These were all the Ozark Trail, not all of them, but all the ones that kind of stood out to me. I left any of the like gas station looking knives behind. And then this one's on clearance, $3.50 for this knife, $3.50. Honestly, I don't expect it to be good, but for $3.50, it can't be that bad, right? Am I gonna eat my words? We're gonna start with this one. All right, so does this have a name? 7-inch folding knife is the name. Blade steel, stainless. Originally, this was only $5.94. So this was originally a $6 knife. It doesn't say anything about specs, which if you're buying a $6 knife, you're probably not interested in specs anyway. It is a liner lock with a tip down carry, or tip down clip. It does flip open and it'll cut. It's fairly sharp. Okay, it's not that sharp, but that is some thick cardboard. Okay, you might get hurt with this if you don't put an edge on it first. Okay, it's really dull. It's dull, but it's also $3.50. But some of these others look a little bit more like, I don't know, like a Civivi or like a true budget knife. It's also in much softer plastic. We're still dealing with tip down though. And no, to the people in the comments, I'm never gonna be okay with tip down carry. It's not safer. That's dumb. It's not safer. Stop saying that. Assisted spring open, stainless steel blade. This was $10. So most of these others are all $10. It's got a sharp flipper tab and a secondary lock, which I already forgot about. Sheepsfoot blade. Not a great edge on it, but it's sharper than the other one. Like clearly, definitely got some more bite to it. Not super sharp. I imagine this won't hold an edge very long, but $10, not bad. Not bad. And that secondary lock is kind of cool, right? So you can keep it from opening. This is the 7-inch folding knife. There's a bit of a pattern already. Same thing, assisted open. It just looks a little different, right? You've got a drop point and you have a sheep's foot. Has the secondary lock on the back here. Also a liner lock, also a tip down carry. This one feels a little bit better, like snappier. Man, these are all kind of dull, which brings us to one of our channel sponsors, Worksharp. Worksharp makes amazing sharpeners, and in fact, if you were at Walmart buying any of this stuff, they actually have stuff at Walmart. You can buy Worksharp at Walmart. Their new folding field sharpener is really, really neat. They also have the guided field sharpener and the Ken Onion Mark II. If you really want to step it up and go professional, check out Worksharp. We also want to thank our other channel sponsor, Big Idea Design. They make amazing pens and pocket tools. And then their latest, which is this right here, this is called the Baseline. Their new bolt action, which is more affordable. It's about 60, 65 bucks. It's on Kickstarter right now. Go check it out. There's a link in the description. And finally, Huckberry. All the clothes you've been seeing me wear lately, they're all from Huckberry. I love their clothes a lot. They're very comfortable. Flint and Tinder pants, proof shirts. You can find my collection and everything I love at Huckberry in the description down below. Use that link. It's also an affiliate. So thank you, Huckberry, and all the other channel sponsors. Now back to whatever this is. 7-inch folding knife, hell. We have a new one. 7.5 inch folding knife. That is this one right here. This one's not in blister packaging, just in cardboard, which is interesting. This one feels a little bit nicer, like lighter, and it feels cheaper because it's all like plastic and like, look at that. But it feels more, I think it's just the G10, right? I think it just makes it feel a little nicer, even if it's not. This clip is slipping around. Again, tip down, Tonto blade, stainless steel of some sort, I imagine. 10 bucks. It's again hard to be mad about that. And then finally, tip up. Here we go. 7.5 inch folding knife is also the name of this one. And once again, we're back in this blister packaging. This one has been heralded as a bug out killer. $10 on this. $10. It just says China. It doesn't say the blades. Actually, no, it says D2 high carbon steel. 10 bucks for D2. I don't know if I believe that. Like, sure, maybe it's D2-ish. A little bit of blade play. Action's good. Very thin. If you guys want to see us put this up against a real bug out, let us know in the comments down below. Maybe we'll also throw in a Hogue Deca. Three-way competition for the bug out killer. Is the bug out killer, or is it this $10 knife or a Hogue Deca, or maybe a drop bear or something? We'll throw another one in, maybe. I don't know. But if you want to see us put this up against a bug out, let us know in the comments. All right, so you could get all 4 of these knives for 40 bucks. That's kind of crazy, honestly. Throw this one in for $43.95, and you have yourself a 5-knife set. That's kind of hard to believe. They're not gonna be great. This one is probably gonna be the best, but how is that D2? I don't know. It's just cool to see Walmart, of all companies, putting a little bit of effort into knives when you have companies like Lowe's and Home Depot and all these hardware stores kind of phasing out knife collections. Like, you used to go into Lowe's and they had this whole knife section, and now it's literally this box on the floor that has like 10 knives in it. So Walmart is going the other direction. Academy, they have a knife section that almost every single time I've been to Academy, it looks just completely ravaged, and there's never any really new stuff there. They have a bunch of Gerber, and it's the same old stuff that they've had for years and years and years. So to see someone like Walmart like stepping up, especially their in-house brand, and offering something like this for 10 bucks, like, I'm sure this is not going to be an amazing knife. It's 10 bucks, but if it's just okay at $10, like, you can get 4 or 5 of these for one Civivi knife. Is 4 or 5 of these as good as one Civivi? Probably, right? I don't know. That's why we got to do the video. Figure it out. But it's cool to see Walmart stepping up its game. That's all I'm saying. So it's actually news to me that these were available at Walmart. I've seen them at Academy. I've talked about the company before, but it's been a long time, I think. This is Outdoor Edge, and now they have more EDC oriented knives. This isn't super new from them. They've always had like EDC blades, but their main focus has always been hunting. And the whole idea behind it is being able to field sharpen your knife is a very nice luxury. But if you don't have to field sharpen, then you don't have to worry about sharpening. You just swap the whole blade out. So you open the knife up, push this button, whole blade comes out, you put another one in. These things are ridiculously sharp because they're also ridiculously thin, and each one comes with additional blade shapes. This is how you know it's not necessarily for hunting. This is more EDC because you have this Warncliffe blade. Let's open this up. You can pop it in real quick, and you could change your whole blade shape on the fly. So Outdoor Edge has different like higher end models. I don't know much about those. I believe Everyday Minimalist has done some stuff on it, and maybe some other people. They've definitely come a long way. Their original models were not too good looking, but now they have some higher end stuff. These were $30-ish a piece, I think, 35, 29 maybe. Razor, $25.90 or $24.97 for both of these. This one is the Razor SX3 and Razor SX5. But for 25 bucks, pretty cool little concept. You have deep carry clip, liner lock, and a knife that you can always keep sharp. And you can, of course, buy additional blades online, at Walmart, wherever you can find them. But you can swap out to the blade style you like without having to change your knife. So if you need something that's drop point, or if for some reason you need to switch to something that is more of a Warncliffe style, you can just take the whole blade out, pop in the other one, and move on with your day. 25 bucks a piece, not bad at all. Very cool concept, and they've definitely made it cooler over the years. Buck has been at Walmart, I would say off and on in my experience, and I think that's just a local thing. but I've been able to find buck at Walmart before, and then other times I haven't. This one is the 744 Sovereign. It has 7CR17 steel, but it's still cool. It kind of reminds me of a little bit of the Polar, and I think that's more of the blade shape here. It has this almost reverse Tonto with a big belly, but also the Pyrite, obviously, CJRB Pyrite, and I think that's all from the steel handle. The only problem I would have with this is that it's very slick, but it's only 35 bucks. So kind of hard to argue against this for $35, but there's a lot of other buck stuff at Walmart. They have a buck 110. I'm pretty sure they had a fixed blade, like the hunter style, the old school, like a 107. They had several different buck knives, but I think for the money, this is probably the best buck there personally, but you know, your mileage may vary. But yeah, the one complaint I would have about this is how slick it is. It's very, very slick, but for the money, that's not bad at all. Obviously, this is where we spent the brunt of our money because each of these are anywhere from 35 to 40, 50 bucks, and there's a lot here. I think we got one of everything. I thought we missed the 12-in-1, but it's right here. I think there were just two things and one of them was empty. So we've got 2 multi-tools, a double-bladed knife, some modern folders, and some fixed blades. Let's start with the fixed blades. Let's start with this one because I think this one's the coolest. This is a survival fixed blade called the Hulk Bar, and this one is the only one with VG10 steel. Ooh, that's got some heft to it. Somewhere down in here, there's a leather sheath, or so the box says. There we go. And a shoestring. Dude, it's got some meat to it. That is a thick, holy crap. That is a thick spine on this. It's got a pretty decent edge on it. I love the micarta and the brass pins. It's more like bushcrafty style. I like that. The sheath is okay, but look at that. It's got a pocket clip. Well, I imagine that's a belt clip, obviously. The sheath is a little thin, but for 50 bucks, I mean, that's a better sheath than some knives I've bought has come with. I think that's pretty cool. Again, if you guys want to see us do anything with any of these knives, let us know which ones you want to see in the comments down below. Moving on from the Halt Bar to the Stahlhorn. This one is an Aus 8 steel. It comes with a premium hard sheath, so I'm guessing not quite Kydex is my guess. Oh, it comes with a ferro rod. Somehow I missed that. A micarta wrapped ferro rod. Oh my God, Swiss Tech. You got my number, and also a shoestring. Okay, so this is the Stahlhorn. I'm sure I'm killing that pronunciation. Stahlhorn. So this one has more of a groove. It's a little bit thinner. Otherwise, it's very, very similar in terms of like functionality and what you would use this for. And again, still kind of for survival style because you have this ferro rod. But this one has a bunch of like aggressive jimping halfway down the blade and not really a 90. This one has a 90. Pretty cool. I like the micarta ferro rod. That's neat. This one was 35 bucks. And I actually prefer the sheath just because the leather and the snap. This feels kind of, that feels cheap, but like cheap in a way that you expect. This feels cheap in a way that I feel like the knife is going to come through the side of the sheath as we've had that issue before. All right, so that's the Stahlhorn. We have the Leicht. This is more EDC style fixed blade. Let's see how this survival knife does tape. Oh, this one also comes with a plastic sheath. I'm not calling this Kydex because it's definitely not Kydex, but does it snap in? Yeah, there we go. This one is D2. It's got a nice like thick, almost like rhino liner coating on the blade here, and a micarta with red G10 liners. I imagine, look, there's D2 right there. It reminds me of something, probably something from Essie, just because the finish on the blade and the shape, like Kangaroo or Izula, something like that. Pretty cool. I think this was also like 35 bucks. Let's go multi-tool. Let's see what this is about, because this has a textured handle, 17 tools, locking tools. Oh, that looks not great. I'm gonna be honest. Swiss Tech, you're on something good here because you got some like decent stuff going. People seem to be pretty hyped on it. This is not great. It looks like you want to be Leatherman with that kind of like pass-through snap. So we've obviously seen this. Somebody was talking about the patent on the Leatherman Wave coming up, like as expiring recently, which is why we saw an Ozark Trail version of the Leatherman Wave. Harbor Freight made the Gordon version. And now we have SwissTech making their own version, which has the same locking mechanism, the same approximate shape. It does not have a pocket clip, but it has the same tool set. Maybe? Let's see. It is a different tool set on the inside. You've got a small Phillips, full-size Phillips, and a flathead. And they're all locking, so it says. This side you have a bottle/can opener, a cord cutter, another flathead, and then your scissors. With a spring on those scissors. Now that's something that Leatherman and everybody else can take like a hint from. Holy crap. What I don't like about this already, I can tell you, is this. There's like no tension on keeping those open, which is what happens when your Leatherman wears out, but this is how this thing ships. I also don't have a ton of confidence in this holding up over time, just in terms of like how it feels and the finish and stuff, but hey, pretty cool concept. But your tool set on the outside is the same as a Wave. You've got a serrated blade, you have a file, you have a saw, and a straight blade. All right, cool, but you don't have like an interchangeable bit, you don't have the eyeglass screwdriver, so it is a little bit different, but yeah, I would say this is their take on the Wave for 50-ish bucks, I think. So the Helfin is more of a Swiss Army knife style tool that is destined to stay in the box. Tool set on this, I just saw from the box, looks actually pretty neat. So you've got your 90-degree Phillips head, and then I believe this is an awl. Yep, little reamer and awl. You have a bottle opener, flathead or can opener, bottle opener, and a flathead. Another Phillips-ish and flathead. We have scissors. Wow, the springs on these are really tight too. You got a pair of scissors, very large, and your main straight edge. So this is very Tinker-esque, I would say. And I would imagine that's what this is trying to be. You have a toothpick, which feels almost 3D printed. It's not, but it feels weird. And it feels like it barely is retained in there. And then this would be tweezers. Yep. So very Tinker-esque, and they're asking, I think, about Tinker price for it. But it feels cooler, right? I'm kind of tired of the red scales. I know some people love the red scales. I've never liked the slick red scales on a Swiss Army knife, personally. And yeah, you can pop those off and put your own on, but the gray G10 actually feels pretty nice. So verdict's out on this in terms of like whether I would, I mean, I did buy it, but whether I would buy it on my own, you know, unadulterated for a video or whatever. But I think pretty cool concept, and I wouldn't be mad about it like as a present or something either. So I think that's pretty neat to see. And SwissTech has been doing this for a long time, right? Like their own take on this or that. So this is no new story here. Or am I thinking of a different brand? I think it's SwissTech. They had the little keychain tool. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it like snaps together. It looks like a key-ish, but it has a flat head and a not really sharp box opener. Well, this is the Balkan. This one is AUS 10, I believe. D2. I thought they were all AUS A, AUS A. This is the only D2. So this is a crossbar lock with a ton of dust. I don't know what that was. D2, and you have a crossbar style-ish lock, but it has, it looks less like a axis lock, and it's also a flipper. Action on it's good. Centering's good. Blade play? A little bit, not much. Reversible clip. G10 handle. It's on bearings. So that's the best knife so far as an EDC blade. We also have the Doppelt. This is a Barlow style, AUS 8, double-bladed, marbled carbon fiber, and then titanium coated. I don't know what's titanium coated. So you have your straight blade, which is kind of like a spay, or kind of warny, modified sheep's foot-ish. And then on this side, you have a clip point, Barlow, right? This is a Barlow pattern. I don't know what's titanium coated on this. Maybe the black? I don't really know what's titanium coated. It wasn't really clear, but that's a pretty cool little knife. I like the double blade. I think the double blade's kind of cool. You don't see that a whole lot in like modern. I would say this is modern, right? It's traditional, but it has more of a modern aesthetic. A lot of the time you see single blades. You don't see double blades on more of this modern stuff with like cooler new materials like case. Sure, you still see that, but you don't see a double blade from Jack Wolf, you know? So maybe we could get a double blade bin. All right, we have the Gerundet. This one, ooh, that's bigger than I thought. Is there anything under here? It looked like there was. Oh, okay. For some reason, there is a felt pouch. Okay. And a shoelace. Yeah, they don't include paracord, but they include this, like, it honestly looks like shoelaces for, like, running shoes or something, but it's some sort of paracord-ish thing. This is also OS 8. It says titanium coating, so that's this coating on this blade. That makes sense, but this one's black, so I guess it's the same thing. Back flipper, liner lock, anodized aluminum with carbon fiber inlay, and a lanyard hole. Ooh, that action's quite nice. I wonder who's manufacturing these. I would say for what this is, I think this is what, around 50 bucks? 45, 50 bucks, somewhere in there, I think. Maybe a little less. They might be 35. I don't remember. But for what it is, even at 50 bucks, this doesn't feel bad. It feels nice. It feels not like a Civivi or a Best Tech Man or any of that. It feels premium. And I think that has something to do with, like, they've knocked every edge off this. This thing is very smooth and rounded, and it feels good. So this would be, I guess, technically like a clip point. They're all kind of modified, right? Almost like a reverse Tonto, sort of. But, dude, the action on this thing is great. I'm impressed by this. I really am. This last knife from Swiss Tech is the Verdig, and this is the one that I think most people have talked about, and it's one that I've looked at about, like, a bunch myself because of materials and things, reasons. Same thing in there, little felt pouch that I don't know why they include that. This one is very similar to this, honestly. Like, same blade shape, effectively. You do have a thumb disc, and you've got micarta versus anodized aluminum, but let's see how it feels. Ooh, feels nice. I really like, for some reason, this anodized aluminum in red and the OD or the green micarta together. Yeah, it's a little Christmassy looking, but I don't know, it just has like some charm to it. The one thing I will say is they didn't really knock the burrs off of the micarta, so they milled this micarta and left the rough edges on it. That'll go away in use, right? This will start to patina and it'll go away, but it's just something that's nicer if you just kind of knock that off to begin with from the factory. But there was some talk about this knife being kind of a knockoff of the Cindy. Was that the controversy? Yep. That this was a knockoff of the Cindy or vice versa? And that's not true at all. Ben has addressed it. He's talked to the designer of this, and they're cool, right? Like, nothing, there was no nefarious anything there. It's just people talking about stuff they didn't know. And it turned out that neither of those were the case. I think they were being designed at around the same time. And that's what we're doing. We're converging on very similar designs across the board here because, I mean, how many different ways can you design a knife, right? It's a cutting tool, and we've converged, and there's a lot of overlap between a lot of different things. But that brings us to our final few knives. You may have heard the news. Civivi is now at Walmart, and these are the 4 models that you can get. We have the Brazen, the Elementum, the Mini Praxis, and the Cubit. And I think these are the only configurations, I'm pretty sure. So this red G10 Brazen with a Tonto, the black G10 Civivi Elementum, the green and black Praxis, and the blue Cubit. You guys are probably very familiar with all these models now, so I don't really need to go through them. I'm pretty sure they're all D2, if I'm not mistaken. Probably. I mean, that's kind of the bread and butter of Civivi's budget line, at least from the era that all of these were designed and made. But the point is that these are in Walmart now. These have long been pushed as the best budget knives that you could buy in the $50 range, and they still are. This is like $42. We were just doing an Amazon video earlier today. This was $42. This is a great knife. It looks great. It works great. It feels great. This is a ridiculously good knife for 42 bucks. And previously, the only place to get these would be like a distributor or a retailer like Smoky Mountain Knife Works, Blade HQ, direct from Civivi or Amazon. So no matter how you wanted to buy one of these Civivi knives, you would have to go online and wait a few days or drive to a store if they're close to you. You didn't have a lot of other options. And there are obviously distributors or dealers in other places. Like I happened upon a random gas station literally in the middle of nowhere, a place called Tuckertown near here, and they had Civivi knives by the counter, which was kind of crazy, but it's rare that you run into a place that has knives like this. So it's really cool to see them in Walmart, and there has been some criticism of Civivi going to Walmart, and I guess I understand, because there are some people who think it like devalues the brand, right? Now they're gonna become another CRKT or Gerber or whatever you wanna call it, Kershaw. But that's not the case. Like, it's still this brand. They're still making the same knives. Some people are worried that the quality is gonna go down because they're having to increase the numbers they're making, but that's not true at all. They're literally pulling from batches that they're already making and just sending them to Walmart. This is a good thing. This means that Walmart is competing in the knife space, right? All of these knives that we have on the table here, like all of this is very impressive, and 6 months ago was not at Walmart. This is not something you could walk into Walmart and get, and you have a great selection. They're all budget, right? There are some nicer knives that you can get that are a little bit more expensive, but for the most part, they're all budget knives that you can get at Walmart. But this is cool. This is good for everybody, because what this is gonna do, in theory, or could do, is force Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace, Academy, and all these other knife or stores that sell knives, not knife stores, but stores that have knives, to also increase their offerings. It also means that if you are, I don't know, a procrastinator and somebody's birthday or a holiday is coming up, you can just run out to the store and get a great knife for cheap. It's not gonna break the bank. It's a great gift that isn't just a random gas station knife or, you know, another Ozark Trail knife that, you know, might get tossed aside. I mean, to be fair, this is honestly great for 10 bucks. But we caught wind that all of these great options were at Walmart. We've known about Swiss Tech for a long time, but the Civivi thing happened last week, 2 weeks ago. And I was immediately like, yes. I have literally told Civivi that they need to be in Academy and Walmart and all these other places, and they have been stonewalled, and now they're there. This lowers the barrier to entry, and it's also helping the race to the bottom, which is great, because we are seeing a race to the bottom where quality is not suffering. This right here was, I think, probably the start of this amazing race to the bottom. The Elementum was one of the first greats at 50 bucks that really, I would say, kicked the Tenacious off the podium, because it showed that you can make a great knife, have all these great specs, and not break the bank. And the Tenacious at the time when this came out was years old, decades old maybe, and it hadn't changed in all that time. And now we have a crazy selection. I was actually talking to Seth from Civivi last night. And that actually didn't have any bearing on us making this video either. We had already planned on making this video before I ever talked to Seth, but we were talking about this, and what came up was, when I started this YouTube channel, making a video about the best knives under 50 bucks was incredibly easy, because there were like 20 options total. Best knives under 100, maybe 40 knives ever. Now, there are hundreds and hundreds of options under 50 and far more under 100. And now, finally, after all this time, seeing those start to trickle into Walmart, and Walmart taking notice that this sector has grown and exploded, that's a really good thing for everybody. And I hope that other retailers follow suit, because I think the staples, the long-standing staples, Gerber, CRKT, Kershaw, Smith & Wesson, if you want to call them a staple, all these companies that you've always been able to find there have just kind of owned the space, and it's a purchase of opportunity, right? People are buying a knife because they see it and they're strolling down the aisle and they're like, oh yeah, cool, grab it and move on. And it's sometimes a good knife, like a CRKT Pilar or a Squid. Those are good knives. The Kershaw Leak, iconic knife, one of the most iconic. But now there is more competition there, and there is a pathway for better knives to get into the store shelves, which I think is great. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like Bass Pro Shop adopt like a brand like this next. Maybe, maybe not, we'll see. But I'm excited for this, because this, I think, has been long overdue, and now we're here, and the options are better than I expected, for sure. So tell me in the comments down below, what is the best knife that we picked up today? What's the best deal? And if you had to pick one of these, what would be your favorite? And also, just to reiterate, if you want to see us test any of these knives or pit something like this Ozark Trail 7.5-inch folding knife against a bug out, let us know in the comments down below. That's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, carry on.